Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And we, of course, have another amazing lineup for tonight. I do want to let the viewers know that I will be leaving the show, not permanently tonight. I will be leaving this show just a little early because, as you all know, I sing in the choir. We are singing tomorrow night with the gospel artist Hezekiah Walker. And tonight we have a special rehearsal with him so we can be prepared for tomorrow night. So I need to leave for that. But Rhonda is used to handling the show. And the good thing about having two people do this show is that we're able to do it even if one of our schedules doesn't permit. So I want to also emphasize that our vendor space is 90% sold for the National Black Book Festival. And so if you do want to get space, please sign up as soon as possible before the space is sold out. Also, Rhonda and I are going to be doing some traveling. Rhonda's going to the Indianapolis Black Expo this coming weekend.
Right.
And then we'll both be in Atlanta for the National Book Club Conference in a couple of weeks. So if any of you all, me too, because I've been hearing about it for years. I've known Curtis Buns pretty much since he started it, but I never could get there. And so this year we're going to be there together and looking forward to that. So we're bringing on our first guest, and her name is Christine Pride. So we're going to sign her on. And this is her book. I have an arc of her book, All the Men I Loved Again. But because I'm going to be leaving, I'm going to wait and give this away on next week's show. So just be prepared. I'm not going to give you the trivia. So that would be cheating. So anyway, Christine, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. Thank you.
Okay, now this book, is this your first solo project?
It is. This is it. I wrote 2 books with Joe Piazza, and then this is my first solo. So it's very exciting.
And is that a hardcover?
It is, yeah.
So it came out in hardcover.
It did, yeah, last week. It's 1 week old today. It's its birthday.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to let you know that Rhonda will be handling the interview. I'm going to be signing off in a few minutes. I just wanted to let you know that in advance.
Okay.
So how did you go from being a co-author to going solo?
Yes, it's been kind of an evolution because I was a book editor for 20 years before even becoming a writer. So that's how I met Jo. She was one of my authors. So I published her book. So it's like a little bit of an incremental step. Like I was an editor and then I became a co-writer with Jo. That was a step. And we wrote 2 books together. And then I had this idea for this novel that became All the Men I've Loved Again that was inspired by my personal experience. And so it just was too juicy to not, I turn into a novel. So I did. And since it was kind of ripped from the headlines of my own life, it, was such a personal experience. It was, made sense to tackle it myself. And I felt kind of ready to do so after, all these other steps. And it was exciting.
Well, I love how you just said just a touch. You just scratched the surface of what the book is about. And I'm already intrigued.
It's a little tease there in the business.
Yes.
So book, All the Men I've Loved Again, is, as the title would suggest, it's about a woman who named Cora who dates two men back to back in her 20s and then falls for the same two men again in her 40s. Or as she's approaching 40. So how she makes the choice and what happens between these two men in both those different eras of her life. So half the book takes place in the past. It starts in 1999, last century. Uh, and then half the book is in present time in 2021.
Okay, so is it kind of flashback or is it more chronological?
It's more chronological. So it's part one is called Then. And so that's in 1999 in the early aughts. And then we fast forward, there's a big jump to part two, and then we're jumped down in 2021.
Okay. So here's something about the profession. Do book editors have an inside track on getting book deals? Because probably one of the most famous book editors that became a smashing success as an author is Toni Morrison.
Of
But
course.
yeah, but there have been many others. So working in the industry for so many years, that probably gives you some insights.
Yes, it does give you insight. Meaning, I think publishing can be an intimidating industry or a mysterious industry. People are like, what is happening behind the scenes and how are they making decisions and, who are these people and all that. So that did, knowing kind of what's behind the curtain did help, but it doesn't necessarily give you kind of an in or a leg up. Like I had to go through the process like any author would, right? Writing a book, getting an agent, having the agent submit it to editors, which is, just as nerve-wracking. I would actually say even more so because you actually know a lot of the people that are reading your book. Like if you're
Right.
author in Nebraska or whatever, you can't picture who's doing it. I'm like, oh, I know it's Susie and Lindsay and Barbara, and so that adds a little layer because your colleagues, are reading and judging your work. So it was a
Yeah,
really
I can
surreal.
kind of see how that would be a little bit more pressure because you can't make one mistake because wait, she's judging other people's work and now look
Yes.
what she's doing.
Exactly. And also we're not all Toni Morrison, right? So it's like when others have gone before you with, the high level or kind of what writers that you've worked with are capable of, right? And you
Mhm,
are working with
mhm.
the best of the best in the publishing industry, which is like really exciting, but it's also, of course, really intimidating too.
Right. And then I also see it as a little bit of I don't know how I want to put it. When you're an editor, if let's say you're writing and you start typing and you realize that you made a mistake or that sentence didn't sound right, or maybe that character wasn't exactly what the way you wanted it.
Mhm.
Do you find yourself maybe stopping your writing process and then putting your editor hat back on in the middle of writing?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I don't think any more necessarily than other people do. I mean, you obviously going back and editing your work and revising is such a part of
Mhm.
the process. But I'm a huge believer that editors make a big difference in your work and everybody needs an editor. So I more so rely on my editor to do that. Like I really trust and believe in my editor for that second pair of eyes and to help
Right.
me spot holes and fix those sentences and deepen the characters and all of that stuff. And I am lucky that I know a lot of people in the publishing industry. So some of my friends, right, then can be early readers of the book and happen to be professionals. And so that
Right.
helps. But no writer can produce work in a vacuum, right? We all need feedback along the way as we're working on our manuscript. And so that's, I rely on it this same way to help me,
Right.
have a better
Nobody's
pair of eyes.
perfect. Even an editor is going to need an editor. I just see myself because I'm also an editor, and sometimes it's very hard for me to just write. Some people say, worry about fixing the mistakes later. But if I know I made a mistake, it's going to bother me
Yeah, yes.
until I fix it. I really find it hard to continue to write because that mistake that I know I made, there are going to be some unconscious mistakes, but the mistakes that I know I made, I have to fix them before I can move on.
A perfectionist after my own heart. Yes, I totally get that. That is, I will do that. Or, just get really frustrated that something is not coalescing like you want it to. A scene,
Right.
character, or a piece of prose is just not, that frustrating feeling of you're just like not quite getting it. I definitely experience that, of course.
Absolutely. Now, your book, is it a fictionalized version, or is this the nitty-gritty truth? This is how it happened.
No, it is very fictionalized. I did not want to write a memoir about my love life. I actually don't think that readers are that particularly interested in my personal love life. But fictionalizing it allowed me to raise the stakes, change the characters, add twists and turns
Right.
that didn't exist, in the actual events. And so beyond the premise, it really is very much a novel and very fictionalized, which again was the fun part, to do that, to
Well,
expand on the story and in any
well,
way
I've
that
got
saw
to say,
fit.
you are a writer after my own heart because I'm the same way. I've always said I don't think I will ever write a straight memoir, but I don't mind taking some pieces from things that I may have experienced or things that I may have seen and just building a story around that. But you're never going to be able to figure out who Rhonda Lawson is by reading any of my books.
Yes. Got to protect the innocent and the guilty, right? I totally get
Absolutely.
that. Well, and I wanted to be respectful. It's true. I mean, I think all writers mine from their lives and, observations and so forth. I mean, that's the whole point of the gig. But it also, for me, in this story, it was much more about the emotional truth of the experience. And that's what,
Right.
I carried with me because in dating two men back to back, 20 years apart, it really taught me a lot about how people change or don't. And it got me thinking a lot about fate and
Hmm.
timing. And I think we all have, maybe that person out there where it's like, I wonder what could have happened, or I wonder what could have been.
Yes. I like to
And
call
I'm
it the
not
what
sure
if
that
factor.
the what if factor, right? And by the time you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, those what ifs accumulate. You
Yes,
have a lot
yes.
of that.
Oh, I love it. I mean, yeah, girl, we could geek out all day on this.
Uh-huh. Sounds like you might have one or two that got away. So
Oh, girl, we're not even going. We have to talk about that another time.
offline. Celia.
So, well, now tell me, you were a co-writer and now you've written your story yourself, a single author story.
Yep.
Were there any differences that may have jumped out at you looking at the process for each of them?
Yeah, it was actually very different. And it was really hard to say because both of those experiences were new to me. So it's, when something is so new, it's hard to, have the context to compare.
Mhm.
And so, it was new and then I kind of got used to writing with Joe and then this is new and, you kind of get accustomed then to writing solo.
Right.
And so it's not even, apples to oranges. It's just like they're very different. And in some ways, writing by yourself is a lonelier process, right? Because you don't have that built-in person to bounce ideas off of on an ongoing basis, and feel
Right.
like you're working together, like you have a coworker or a team, in the trenches. But writing solo also gives you a lot of freedom, even logistical freedom, right? Like you're not beholden to somebody else, to say this chapter's due Friday, or I need to turn this around, or I need to get on a Zoom at this time to talk about this. So it's very different. And I think I'm glad I've experienced both because both have taught me a lot
Mhm.
about writing and, the process and, how what different skills and vulnerabilities even it brings out in both scenarios.
It does bring some vulnerabilities out because when you're writing, especially when you're writing a single author, even if you're writing I've written in anthologies before. You don't know how the other writers in it you're writing. You don't know their writing styles. You don't know what they're going through. So even when you're writing for an anthology versus writing your own book, you're kind of in a vacuum. You don't always know what the person is going to think. You're not going to be able to stand behind everybody who reads your book and explain to them what you meant.
That's what I meant here. That's what I meant here. Yeah. Totally. If only.
Right. I wish I could.
Same. But
So
yeah, no, you're totally right. It's a very emotional experience writing, and that actually has been the most surprising thing to me. When Joe and I did our first book, and again, it was like my first time doing this, and especially after so many years as an editor, people would often ask what surprises you, and that was always my answer, and it remains my answer to this day that I just really underestimated the emotional component of being a writer and how much um, you know, self-doubt and comes up, or how much discipline is required, how much self-talk and pep talks are required. And
right.
so yeah, and for every book, like I don't know that that's something that even by the 10th book or the 12th book, I mean, heaven help me if I get there, but that ever goes away. I think it's just an ingrained part of the process, that I'm sure even Toni Morrison felt on occasion.
I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. But the good thing about it is, as I went to your website, I think that you're able to get a lot of reader feedback because you have a whole tour going on. You're
Yes, I do.
appearing in a lot of different cities. You're doing a lot for a book that's only been out for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's been great. Yeah, I've been on the road, and that's the best part because it's so solitary and there's so much build up to publishing a book, so much happening behind the scenes. And then when it's finally out and you get to talk to readers about it, it's like it has this whole other life because you've just been talking to like a small bubble of people about it who have read it. And I love to write stories, including this one, that are a launching point for people to talk about their own experiences.
Yes.
And so, I'm here for all of the juicy, heartfelt stories, right? Of reconnections and second chance romance and lost loves and first loves. And so it's been really great for people to share their stories and get to talk to them.
So you've been noticing that a lot in your different appearances that people are accepting a book and then sharing their own stories of love.
Yeah, people, I mean, yeah, sometimes it's funny because people will not want to share in the Q&A or like a group setting, but then they come to the signing line and they're like, "Oh, I wanted to tell you, like, one woman in Kansas City told me about she was on vacation in Italy, right, a million years ago and really connected with this guy and then, kind of found him recently on social media, I mean,
Nice,
like
nice.
it's interesting because it's often like a typical reconnection, meaning social media has given us a lot, or online or email or whatever, that a lot of people can track each other down that way. So that's kind of a common theme, but then each story is so unique, right, in terms of the circumstances around it and how long people have been apart or not in touch.
Very true. Now, how did you choose these cities? Because I looked at your list and it's like all over. You've been to
Yeah.
Illinois, you've been to California. I think, oh, was it Missouri you had been
Kansas
to?
City, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah.
yeah, I'm all over the place with across the country. Well, typically with book tours, I mean, they're all a little bit different for every author. But you usually start out with looking at markets that you have some kind of connection to, right? So I'm like I split my time between New York and LA, so it made sense to, do events in both
Right.
of these places. I went to college at Mizzou, so University of Missouri, so I have like a Missouri connection. But then it's a matter of, what stores have availability for that week. Usually you're on tour the week the book goes on sale, so you kind of figure out a mix and match of like what
Hmm.
stores does it make sense to go to. And that kind of dictates the cities. And some authors have like a stronger hold like in the South, right? And we'll do events throughout the South or the
Right,
Northeast or
right, right.
whatever. So it's nice because everybody is so spread out that at least there's, kind of somebody for every kind of local community to have an author come to an event. And it's been nice because I think people want to go to author events. I do think that people
Yes.
um are now, I had two books come out in the pandemic, so that had been kind of my previous experience of touring. And so now it's just been nice to see that obviously post-pandemic, but also I think people just want to connect with people in real life, they want to go
Absolutely.
out and like brush their hair and put on a dress and go talk to somebody. And
Right.
so
Put on real pants, you know.
yes, exactly. It's just grab a drink, whatever. So it's nice to give people the opportunity to do that. And short and sweet. I love these events actually because they're, usually like an hour and a half, so it's not like a huge time commitment.
Right, right.
But you can, still scratch that itch of going and having fun and, talking to another book lover. So I love that.
Now, your next event is going to be in Denver. You're
Denver.
going to be speaking with Nicole McAteer with
Yes.
the Mile High Book Club.
Yes, I'm excited. It's, I tried to do something like a little different in each event too. And so this is really, a fun way to bring a book club into the store, so the book club members
Hmm.
can I mean, it's obviously open to the public and anybody can come. But that'll be a fun component to it. And also the reason I'm in Denver is I teach at the university in the summer. I teach aspiring
Oh,
publishing
nice. Yes.
professionals. And so they're all, students who want a career in publishing. And so I imagine a few of them will come to the event too. So it'll be fun to, that they can kind of see what that aspect of the business is like.
Love that. Well, now we do have a comment here. Mark Anthony Hall said that he wishes you the best and continued success in your journey.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. And I need it. We all need it, right? Like it feels good to be
Absolutely.
cheered on, right? We got to cheer each other on, and particularly Black authors, the Black writing community, it matters even more to have that layer of encouragement and solidarity and community and connection. And I got your back. I'm going to buy your book. I'm going to support, spread the word, like that.
Right.
It really makes such difference. And so I'm really grateful for that.
I really will say that I don't want to just say you're fortunate, but it's really nice that your book in just a short amount of time has had this much feedback and this big a reception.
Yeah, no, I think fortunate's the exact right word. I feel very fortunate. I feel, very lucky to have such a great publishing team behind me, that it takes a village, and authors can do a lot of work themselves. And obviously the best thing is to create the best book that you can. But beyond that, so much is out of your control and you are at the mercy to some degree of publicists and marketing people, and at the end of the day readers, right? they have
Yes,
to
yes.
they have to come to your book and they have to tell people about your book, otherwise it doesn't work. And so I feel really good about the reception so far, and that people are seem to be liking the book. And especially in this time period, a lot of people have just been telling me like this is the escape that I needed, or this is the type of like emotional read that I needed, where it's not a heavy book, it's a good beach read, but it's not without substance, right? Like things do
Right,
happen.
right.
And so I like that in when you were looking at the headlines and everything is like terrible,
Oh,
um,
yes. There's a
there's a
lot
little
going
bit
on
of
this
counter
year.
programming, yeah, that you can escape for an hour or two into a different story.
Beautiful. Now, I know that there was a lot of intention that went through planning your story and then planning the promotional efforts once the story was published, or even before the story was published. This didn't just happen in a vacuum. Can you share maybe a couple of your lessons learned
Yeah.
as you went through that process? Because we have a lot of authors who watch the show, and a lot of them would love to be able to have the same reception that you
Yeah.
had.
Yes, I think relationship building is really key. Get to know your local independent bookstores, right? They're on the front lines selling books, like hand selling to customers that come into the store. So getting to know popular bookstagrammers on Instagram, they have such a huge effect. And even, Black Bookstagram, I compare to Black Twitter, maybe less hilarity and wisecracking, but just as powerful, like a force of, supporting Black writers. And so I wrote personal notes to many book of my favorite Black bookstagrammers or bookstagrammers in general.
Oh, so
I
you
wrote
just reached out to them and just kind of slid into
yeah,
their DMs?
definitely. And I wrote handwritten notes that then, I would track down their addresses and send with the copy of the book
I think
itself.
that that makes the difference because there are so
Yeah.
many bookstagrammers and bookstores where authors are sliding into their DMs all the time, and then you get desensitized to it. They kind of ignore it, like, oh, here's somebody else promoting their book to me, and they may not listen to it. But for you to have written even a handwritten note or
Yeah.
a personal note that shows that this wasn't just a chat GPT form that I sent to 20 bookstagrammers a day.
Oh no.
I really want you to read my book.
I had hand cramps. I was because we don't write anymore, right? Like everything is typing. So when I sat to write these notes, I probably wrote 100 notes. So it was
Wow.
like I got to take a break. I got to. So, but I do think, to your point, like that personal touch, it does make a difference, and it's very personal. It's not like to whom it may concern. And I reached out to people that I genuinely believe in their work. I think that they're doing a good job, supporting writers and spreading the word on Instagram. So that would definitely be one thing. And then the other thing is trying to do your own social media. And, I'm a work in progress at this for sure.
Mhm.
And, it is, it's like the advice that you give that you don't take, but so that's the hard part. But, I do think that whatever the complicated relationship I at least have with social media, it is here to stay in terms of being an integral part of how books are sold or how conversations happen, And so for this book, I tried to lean into that as much as possible, and not grumble about it all the time as I want to do, like Instagram, but just try to be positive about it as a tool. Okay, I can share this. I can share my unboxing video. I can share,
Yes, yes,
stuff like
yes,
that.
yes.
And it's outside of my comfort zone for sure. I'm not like a content creator, but it's worth doing. And so that's the other kind of piece of advice that I give, like, is to the degree that you feel comfortable, get online and start sharing your work or your life
Right, right.
or, other
People like
book
to support people they
recommendations.
feel like they know.
Yes, exactly. That's
Yes.
exactly it.
All right.
Exactly.
I'm going to squeeze in one last question because I know
Yes.
we're right up to the bottom of the hour. But A. Shakur asked, and I know your book is traditionally published, but
Mhm.
he asked for advice for a self-publisher like himself. He's a self-published author.
Yes. So more power to you. That's amazing to be a self-published author. It's kind of like writing a collab and writing solo, the comparison I made where they almost can't be compared, right? Because they're such their own thing and lane.
Mhm.
I will say the biggest difference between self-published or the thing that you have to do is what I just described, but hustle even harder, right? In terms of making these connections and reaching out to people. And you are in effect your own publicity and marketing person. And the great thing about that is you control the messaging, you get all the proceeds, right? You control so much of the process, the cover, the
Mhm.
timing, like everything is up to you. But the distribution aspect just means leaning more heavily on your networks, and even like old school, when people are selling
Yes,
CDs out of
yes,
the back of their cars, it's kind of like that mentality of driving to bookstores and or going to festivals, right? Getting yourself into these different local festivals, the Gaithersburg Book Festival, right? In Gaithersburg, Maryland, like smaller
yes. That's a big
festivals.
festival. I'm going to do it next year.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I
Yes.
mentioned that because that's where, I grew up in Silver Spring. So
Oh, okay.
a
I live in
local
Maryland.
festival. Oh, nice. Oh,
Yes, I
yeah.
used to live in Silver Spring. I live in Accokeek now.
Oh, nice. Oh, very cool. I love that local
Yeah.
connection. Yeah. So that's why I wrote the book is set in the DMV on the Virginia side, though. So it's
Okay,
not.
so now I really have to read
Yeah.
it.
Totally. Well, I hope you do and enjoy it.
Well, so I would love to talk to you longer, but like I said, we are at the bottom of the hour. I want to congratulate you on your book. Can you show us the book one more time
Yes, of course. Oh my God, I
and let
haven't.
us know where
I only wear
we can
pink
find
now,
it?
so I match my book at all times. But
There
thank you,
you go.
for having me, and I hope people check it out, and I hope people keep in touch. I know you mentioned there's obviously a lot of writers that are going to be watching this, and so please don't
Yes.
hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram. It's at C Pride, or email me. I'm always happy to help, advise, give a pep talk, whatever. So I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And we also put your website in the chat, so
Oh,
hopefully
great.
everybody will click on that link and let's support this book. It's only been out a week and it's doing amazing. So congratulations once again, Christine.
Thank you so much. It was really fun to be here. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, y'all, that was there we go. That was author Christine Pride. I'm looking forward to reading her book because it looks like it's a beautiful story and it's a fun story. We're going to move forward to our next guest, Miss Michelle Lindo-Rice. I know her name says Michelle Jackson, but I believe that's Michelle Lindo-Rice right there. Hello, how are you? You're on mute.
Hello, how are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you so much for having me again. I am super excited to be on tonight.
Good, and we're super excited to have you as always. Unfortunately, it's just gonna be fortunate, unfortunate, however you want to put it. It's just gonna be me and you tonight. Gwen is, as you may know, she's a part of her church choir, and they have a big show coming up with a celebrity performer, and they're going to be backing them up like they always do. Yes, so she's at choir rehearsal, so it's
Okay.
just me tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. Thank you for having me, Rhonda.
Oh, well, like I said, thank you for being here. I love talking with you, and tonight's gonna be no different. So, before we even get started, why don't we go ahead and I'll give you the floor. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Michelle Lindo-Rice, and I write drama filled page turners that keep you reading to the end. I write
Yes,
both romance and women's fiction, and I have been writing for a good while now. And so I'm blessed to be published with Harlequin Special Edition
nice.
as well as Harlequin Mira. And so um, besides that, I'm a grandma of a 3-year-old and
Oh,
Nova, and she's just a little blessing to have around. So
oh, that's
having
so
me,
sweet. Well, congratulations on being a grandma.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Hey, I
wonderful.
don't know. My daughter's 25 and she has not given me a grandchild yet, but I'm not ready for her to do it just yet. I wanted to wait a
Yes,
little while longer.
yeah, yeah.
So what's going on in the world of Michelle Lindo-Rice these days?
Well, as you know, I when I'm not uh writing, I'm, you know, working with other authors as a literary agent, but right now I am writing. I am working on I have oh goodness. I have a book coming out with special edition in a
Well,
few
actually,
months.
today's the day, isn't it?
And I have a book that came out today as some of the
Yay,
books.
there
Today's
it
release day.
is.
This is my second book with Mira, and it's another book about books. And so, yeah, I was trying to think of what, oh gosh, I lost the date, but it's around November that I have another one coming. But yes, today is release day, and I'm so like excited that I get to come on here for release day. Yay! It's a
Yeah,
great
I love
celebration.
that. So it's a book about books. So tell me about this book about books.
Yes. Okay. So on the front cover, it says Beaches, Books, Besties and Secrets. And I think those four words sum up a lot of what you're going to read in A Summer for the Books. The title aptly fits the book because there's a lot of things that's going down this particular summer. You have best friends that are not besties anymore. They've been separated for quite some time, and then one gets in an accident. She has amnesia, and so she needs her bestie to come and help her figure things out. And while all that's going on, they have a secret that they have been keeping for years, and this is the summer where it gets revealed. So I have a lot of
Oh,
things going on in this book. I think it was
it sounds kind of
actually,
juicy.
yes, it was actually one of my most ambitious project to date. You know, as an author, sometimes you just want to challenge yourself, and I'm hoping that readers really connect with it and stay with me for the ride through A Summer for the Books.
What do you think made it challenging? What was it that helped you to stretch as an author?
So, besides it being a book about books, it's actually a book within a book. So,
Oh,
yeah, one of the friends is an author and you're reading parts of her book. There's a dual timeline going on. I have a little bit of so you have three point of views. Uh, each of the best friends, Shelby and Jewel, as well as their her adoptive daughter Lacey. And so I have timelines, I have point of views, and I have a book within a book. So keeping everything straight, and I'm hoping that my readers will be able to keep everything straight as well. That's my fear, is that because people want to read for enjoyment, but there are little clues in every single chapter that I'm hoping that people will grab onto.
oh wow. So they really have to pay attention because now they're not just dealing with three different points of view, but you have little clues throughout the book. And
Yes.
that's what's going to help them to I guess find the big
Yeah, the
reveal.
secret as a
Yes, the
secret.
big reveal.
Yes, yeah. Which I mean, we have it, but the part of it is, of course, when it becomes revealed to the characters themselves. So
Right, right. Well, that sounds like a really fun read though.
I think so, but we'll see what everyone thinks. I'm super super nervous. I think as with every author, when your work come out, you have a vision and
Hmm.
you work hard with your editor to get that vision. But now, does the readers actually get that vision as well? Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, and I don't know if you heard when I was talking with our last guest, Christine, I said the thing about writing, you kind of write in a vacuum and
Yeah.
you have to kind of think about the questions that your reader is going to have. You're not going to be able to stand behind everybody who reads your book and explain
Yes.
to them what you meant about when you wrote a certain
Exactly.
passage.
Well said. Exactly. And so you're like, I hope they get it. I hope they connect. I hope they keep reading. All of these things that are the things that you hope as an author, but you also hope to get an emotional reaction. Whether it's,
Yes.
I absolutely hated it, but I finished the book, or I loved it.
You know what? I love it when people say I hated the characters, but they couldn't wait to see what happened to them. I mean,
Exactly.
hate is an emotion too. So
And
if
I say thank you.
exactly, if you get your readers to hate your character and they're supposed to hate your character, or I've had people who just said I just wanted to shake her.
Yes, I've had that.
Hmm. Yeah, but that just means that you're evoking the right emotions out of your reader to make them want to keep reading.
Yes.
Everybody's not going to love every character, and I don't want you to love every character.
But you have to at least care enough about them to want to finish it. What
Exactly.
happened?
I want them to care, but I don't need them to love everybody. Some
Mm.
people I want them to be a villain, but then have you ever read some books where you actually kind of like the villain?
Oh yes, all the time. You just have that lovable bad guy, and you just want to continue reading
Yes.
whoever the character is, male or female. yeah, we say the character that you love to hate, you know.
Exactly. I always liken it to Marvel Comics because with Marvel Comics, the villain has good qualities about them, and then yeah, you're supposed to hate the villain, but then when you start thinking about it, you're like, he was actually kind of right.
Yes,
And
I mean that
I
was
know I'm probably going to have some comic book heads who are going to come for me. I don't know the difference between all these comics, Marvel, DC, and so
I don't
forth.
either. That's why I just
Yeah,
said Loki. He was a great
yeah.
guy.
All I know is the comic book villains. You either love them or you hate them, or you're like, well, he was kind of right. For instance, Killmonger.
Hmm.
Everybody hated Killmonger
Yes.
in Black Panther, but when you started thinking about it, you're like, wait a minute, what he was saying was actually right.
Yeah, and he was
And then there
phenomenal
was
too. So
yes, absolutely. Then there was the other comic villain. I don't remember his name. I told y'all I'm not a comic head. I just know some of these characters. But he was the one who wanted to eliminate 50% of the population of the earth because he said the earth was getting
oh my
overcrowded and it
gosh,
was
yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, but I know. Yes.
yeah, but when you think about it, yes, he might have wanted to do it in a diabolical way, but his motivation for wanting to do it was actually admirable.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I,
so
I
that's
mean, you
why
are teaching stuff about motivation, you know.
yes,
And
yes,
I'll never forget, like, Victoria Christopher Murray, once said to me, you know, you know, we will love the character. We will be with you on the journey if we understand the why. You know,
yes,
we get the
exactly,
motivation. You can do anything
exactly.
as long as we understand the motivation.
And that's the way it should be. And that's why I said not every character is meant to be loved, but sometimes the character that you think everybody's going to hate winds up being the character that people love. But
Yeah.
when you give them layers, you allow your reader room to love or hate or at
Yes.
least care about the character.
Because in every bad guy, in even like I said, in the comics or otherwise, they always have a redeemable quality.
Yes.
They have to have something that makes you still connect with them, and that's what makes you not necessarily love what they're doing, but at least understand, or at least, get to still secretly kind of root for them. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I love that. So now, how in the world do you have a book that you just released today? It hits the sense today, and then you have another one coming out a few months later. Were you writing both books at the same time?
No, it could be when they plan to publish, so generally it's written about probably a year or so in advance, but sometimes they may say, let's put this out till this date, or let's do that. And so you might end up with a few that comes closer together. But I have been writing a lot. The one that's coming out is actually Fortune on His Doorstep. I was
Mm,
privileged to be a part of the continuity that Harlequin Special Edition does. And so that's the one that's coming out in I think it's October, late October. It's a November release, but it comes out like the last weekend in October. Yeah.
wow. Well, you are a busy lady.
Yes, but I am definitely looking forward to relaxing a little bit. There's wisdom in resting. Yes.
Oh, amen to that. Amen to that. So, I'm looking at we have July. There's not a lot of time. I know it may seem like it, but there's not a lot of time between July and November. So what are you doing in these few months?
So, of course, right now I'm definitely promoting some of the books, and it will be probably around, October or so, early mid-September, early October, where I'll start talking about the other book. But pretty much a summer for the book is what I call my big book. It's my women's fiction book, and it has as my editor explained, it has a longer shelf life, so to speak. So, I mean, even now, the Bookshop Sisterhood, which I came on with the last time, I think it was that book, and it's still making its way through stores and with book clubs. It takes a little while, I believe. And so I'll still
Yes.
always be promoting a summer for the books for quite some time. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, I like that you have a plan. You're very intentional about what you're doing with this. I see you. So, how is the writing process when I know, and our last guest was an editor. You are a literary agent. Do you approach the writing process a little different because not so much that you have an in with the publishing houses, but you kind of know what publishing houses are looking for. Does that kind of stay in the back of your mind when you're trying to do your own writing?
Um, I don't, I think I think when I sit to write, I'm using a different part of my brain, I think. But there are things that I do know, and that's from being an agent myself. But I think a lot of authors also know this who work with uh even in the trad pub area, which is there's just certain scenes that always begin a book, and
Mhm.
you see it so much that as an author you try to um either uh challenge yourself by having either a different scene, or you try to challenge yourself by saying, okay, how can I eliminate this and get to the scene quicker? And that's what a lot of the editors will say, because they're like, there are a lot of books that begin exactly the same way. And that's what you see as well when your agent, or imagine the editor do what they're seeing. And so it was until I wasn't an agent at that time, but my editor said to me, can we please just start here? She goes, and my lovely beginning scene, I was like, yeah, but she was reflecting, you get a lot of thoughts. And she was like, can we just start here? She goes, do you know how many books I get? And she was like, I can't see another one. And so you learn that and you pass that on as well. And not, sometimes your clients are like, oh, that's great. Thanks for telling me. And sometimes they may be like, well, I feel I need this, or, they might think, oh, maybe you just didn't like my, book or whatever, but it's not that. It's that you kind of get a feel for it and you see it yourself.
So you're saying that we don't have to start our books with our main character waking up in the morning and looking out of the window with a
Yeah.
cup of coffee, grabbing a cup of coffee and just thinking back on the night before. We don't have to do
Yes.
that.
And yes, exactly. And there's quite a few more. And so, not that you can't have it, but if you can find a creative way to make it stand out. Like, for example, if you're gonna have your character wake up in the morning, did they wake up in space? Then we
Right.
can say, okay, there's something different. So you can use the same spin, but make sure that you have something creative to go with it.
Love that.
Because of the importance of, the first 5 pages. Sometimes it's the first line, sometimes it's the
Yeah.
first paragraph.
You
And
know, that's
hey,
interesting that you say that because I've heard some people say they'll give a book 50 pages before they put it down. Or some might even say 10 or 20 pages, but you say the first 5 pages.
yes, and I mean, there's a book even called The First 5 Pages. But when editors have, you picture that they may have, let's say for argument's sake, they have 20 books in their inbox, and they have to make rapid decisions. Even as an agent, when you have X amount of books in your inbox and you're looking to clear it out, and you ask for the first 10 pages or the first 5 pages, it's because you want to see how they began, and it's the same process, by the way, that readers do. Most readers in a bookstore are not sitting and reading 50 pages and then deciding, do I want this
Right.
book? They read the back of the book, maybe the title, but I've seen it. I've seen them even do it with me sitting there trying to hustle at Barnes and Noble, sell the book. They'll read the back and then they'll open the book and they'll read the first page and then they'll gently put it down and keep walking.
They
So
they do this. They
it
look at
happens
it. They
all
read
the
it.
time.
They look
Yeah.
at the back. Then they go, "Well, good luck."
Yes, exactly. So then you said to yourself, gosh, what was wrong with my first page? Why I did not capture that? And they
That's a
keep going.
very good
And
point.
so it's the same thing. Agents and editors are readers as well. And so that is the challenge, which is I don't have to, right? The reader does not have to read 50 pages to make up their minds.
Very good. I love that. Now, to Tony Benita, I don't know if you saw, but she
Yes,
wants to remind you that we are going to see each other at the end of this month
yes.
when we go to the National Book Club Conference.
Yes, I'm super excited to be going again. I went last year and I managed to secure a slot again this year. And I'm hoping that people come into my slot. I'm super excited um, to talk about a summer for the book and excuse me, and hopefully sign copies as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be my first year going to the event. I've been wanting to go for years, and this is one of the events that has a lot of stick-to-itiveness.
Yes,
It's been
yes,
around for a long time. The
yes.
book clubs come out. If you ever wanted to meet book clubs, this is the place to be.
Oh, yes. And what I love about it is that you know, I can't remember what year it was, but it was quite a few years ago. I was, the authors that were one of the authors that was in either the room selling or in the hallway selling, I was set up there. And you get to network with other authors. And so, and you're sitting there, you're like, please, I hope they come and see me, and visit my booth. And so now I get a chance to get an hour slot to present and you still feel the same thing, like I hope somebody comes and see me, but it's such a wonderful event. If I believe it was 20 years. I hope I didn't get that wrong, but
Yes,
it's a significant
it's
number
year
last
20.
year, and I was there for that and it was absolutely amazing. So like you said, it had like that withstanding power to last all this time, and I think it's a wonderful event. And the readers, they come to talk to authors, to network and to celebrate each other, so I
Yes.
love to see them dressed in their book club matching
I
outfit. They
know. I mean,
are
book clubs are like
amazing.
little sororities. They
Yes,
all have their t-shirts.
yes,
They have
yes.
all of their matching paraphernalia. I love it, right, when I see book clubs come out. And wine clubs are starting to do the same thing.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, see, I live in Maryland, and there are a lot of wineries in Maryland, Virginia,
Yes.
and um, I had an event back in February. We called it Books and Wine, and there were a number of wine clubs that came out to support the event, and they had the cutest t-shirts on. One lady showed up wearing a skirt with books all over the skirt. It was really
Oh my
cute.
gosh, how cute is that?
Yes, I mean, books are a serious matter these days.
Oh yes, we could go there, but yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, there's a question in the chat from A. Shakur. He is a self-published author. He wants to know how he could benefit from an event such as a National Book Club conference or possibly any type of literary conference. And I know the answer, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, the benefit to that is that writing can be a very lonely world. You get to meet other authors, but most importantly, you get to meet readers. Readers connect to authors. They will support you when they know you. And
Yes.
so going to that event, you get to meet like especially like we're talking about National Book Club conference at the minute at this moment, but most of those events you're going to meet like-minded people who love books, who want to talk about books, and it's more than your friend or your family that said they read it, but they really didn't.
Right. It might be sitting on their shelf, but they can't tell you how it ended. And
Yes.
you know, it's
So
so sad
yeah.
because my family supports me, loves the fact that I'm an author. But I quizzed them the other night. I said, Did you ever read Trust? No, but I have it. I'm like, well, I'm glad you have it, but did you read it? I don't have time to read it. You know I'm not a reader. I got the book though. Then I asked another
Which
one,
is
did you?
okay too, but yes,
Yeah,
if
I said,
you
did
get
you
a
read
chance at these
Trust?
events to meet readers that are interested in knowing you, right?
Yes, yes. But so you sometimes, and I tell people all the time, I don't get upset about it. I think it's a joke and I laugh about it because your family is not your target audience. You didn't write books just for your family to buy your books. You wrote books because you want to connect with readers. So if you have a family full of people or your friends who are not really readers, don't get mad that they don't buy your book. They're not readers.
Yes.
So
I've
you
been
have to go to the
fortunate.
people.
Yeah, I've been fortunate where a good number of my family has, have bought my books, and a few of them have even read it and will call me about. But of course, when you're doing multiple books, after a while,
Right.
people drop off. So it's okay though.
And that's true
I'm
too.
grateful when they
They
can.
almost
Uh,
everybody read my first couple of books, but I'm like, the more books I write, they're not going to keep buying the
yeah,
books.
yeah.
They're just happy for me.
They but my sisters, they have read every single one and they have purchased every single one.
Yes,
Even though I said I'll just give you one, they are determined to support me, and I'm so grateful for them. So I know exactly what you're
amen.
talking about. Yes.
Amen. I love that. I love that. Well, we only have 3 minutes left. So, what I would, and I know we dropped a lot of gems in this conversation. So I'm not even sure how much more advice you could give. But as an agent, because we had these questions to come in about self-publishing. One thing I would say about self-publishing, there's nothing wrong with being a self-published author.
No, I've done it.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, and you can't compare yourself to a traditionally published author, but only so far, because you don't want people to pick up your book and say, "Oh, this must be self-published." So you want to make sure that you can stand up with any other book, but don't feel that you're not always going to get the same opportunities that a traditionally published author will get. But it doesn't make your book any less than a traditionally published author. And I'll stop there and I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've done self-publishing, and there are authors right now that are both trad pub and they still self-pub. And so self-publishing gives you that wonderful freedom of this is what I want, this is how I do it. You just have a lot of creative control.
Hmm.
What I do say though is that make sure that you hire people in field, knowledgeable people in field that can help with
Yes.
editing process for your work, whatever it is, whether it be self-pub or trad pub, you want to make sure that the quality, the level of
Yes.
is
And
there for
that's what I
others.
mean when I say
Because your
your
name
book
is
should
on
stand
either
with
one.
any other book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great point. You don't want people to just pick up your book and say, "Oh, look at the quality on this. This must be self-published. This guy must have done it themselves." And you don't want your book to look like something that you printed over at the Office Depot
Yeah.
and then tried to sell.
And
Well,
I've
I mean,
seen
since if
some.
that's all you can do, that's all you can do.
Yes, and I've seen some indie authors, we call them, who have amazing
Yes.
quality writing, and they're choosing to self-publish, to be indie authors, and I've seen their covers could compete with those out there. So yes, take the time to hire the designer for your cover, etc., and and attend conferences, build your knowledge base,
Yeah.
network with other indie authors, and yeah, you'll see the growth, and readers will purchase your work. Yes.
Wonderful. So, Michelle, show us your book one more time,
Yes.
um, and tell us how we can find the book. This is your pub day. This is
Yes,
day
and I'm
one.
so
Yay!
excited. I'm really excited, and I really hope that you pick it up, tell a friend or two or 30 about it. If you can't afford it, go to the library, please, and ask them to buy it. That's wonderful to give yourself and others the opportunity to read it. It's available in ebook on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, all over. It's available in paperback. And if you would like to check out sample chapters, you can go to www.michellelindourice.com and read some sample chapters. And I pray it grabs you so that you'll hit that buy now button. Thank you so
There
much
you
for having
go.
me.
And I did put the link, the Amazon link to the book in the chat. So please scroll up, go to the Amazon link, click that link. Let's go ahead and support this book on its first day on the shelves. Let's move those numbers up. I'm looking for. Oh, by
And
the
visit
way,
your indie bookstores as well.
absolutely. Go. You don't have to just get it from Amazon. Go to your indie bookstores. We need to continue to support our indie bookstores. But I was going to ask very quickly, what formats can we find the book?
Yes, it's in ebook, and it's in audiobook, and it's also in paperback. So you can listen as you drive, but just be careful when you're driving and listening. Lots of
Yes,
drama.
listen. Don't read while you drive, but you can listen while you drive.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for once again being back. Congratulations once again on your book release. Keep
Thank you
doing
so much.
amazing things.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, y'all, that was Michelle Lindo-Rice. And she's doing her thing. She's doing her thing. She just released her book today. So we're going to move right along because it is now 9 o'clock. And we are going to talk with another author, Miss Barbara Howard. And she disappeared. She go. Oh, there she is. Hi, Barbara.
Hello,
There she is. I thought you disappeared. I was like, I know I let her in. Where did she go?
I'm here. Had to
Well,
unmute.
welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. So I apologize that Gwen is unable to join the conversation today. She is a member of her church choir and they have a big performance coming up. So she had to miss tonight so she could go to rehearsal. But I'm here and we're gonna have a good time anyway.
Well, I grew up in the church choir. I know that's serious business, so that's fine
Yes.
with me.
All right, all right, all right. Well, like I said, welcome to
Thank you.
Black Authors Matter TV. I'm excited to get to know you. I'm not sure that we've had a chance to talk before, so I'm looking forward to getting to know you.
Yeah, same. I've been hanging out in the chat. I saw a couple of questions about self-publishing. I can definitely speak to that.
Okay,
But
come on
yeah.
then.
But yeah, I'm glad to be here and I'm enjoying the program so far, and I'm glad to connect with you guys.
Well, thank you. It's always nice when the authors who are guests when they hang out in the chat because we have some really dedicated viewers. They tune in every week, they comment every week, and when they see the author in the chat, they start to talk with them as well. And it just keeps everybody engaged that way. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
So you're here to talk about your book, Lost History Between Us.
Well, I've got that. I'll hold it up. I'm shuffling books on my lap. That's it. It came out actually on my father's birthday in January 31st.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's my baby. I picked that date on purpose. It has to do with just a quick synopsis. The young woman is a history teacher, Black history, uh, and she inherits her grandmother's cabin that was their summer retreat. Her grandmother was also a historian, and so my heroine appears to, for the first time, after after the passing, to come to the cabin, and she finds out someone's broken into it
Mhm.
and has been ransacking through her grandmother's papers and so forth. And so it's a second chance romance as well. It's a romantic suspense. So I write mystery, romantic suspense, and contemporary romance. And so I like to have a blend of a lot of action. And your
Yes.
previous guest was talking about how, you want to start it where there's some action happening. And so that's where we start in the story. And who shows up to help investigate is the natural resource officer of the area, who's her ex from 3 years ago. And so,
Oh,
so here they so here they
okay.
are. And
You do
the
start off
cast,
with a bang. I like
oh,
this.
absolutely. And the cabin was a safe house on the Underground Railroad. And
Oh,
so
wow.
so the story gets into people stealing artifacts that pertain to Black history. And her grandmother was a suspect in a murder, so she wants to clear her name. So there's a lot going on, as well as the second chance romance. So yeah, that's what it's about. I did not know at the time I started writing this that we would be in this political quagmire right now of starting to lose things out of our historical archives and repositories. But
Right.
here's my story. So yeah, that came out in January. I have another one if you don't mind me holding up a couple of books.
Sure.
Um, this one came out in April, and it's called My Sweet Escape. The hero in this one is a young woman who's a social media influencer. She says something ridiculous online. She gets in trouble and she
Mm.
has to hide out, so to speak. She's got to kind of go quiet while the whole thing blows over. And she shows up in a little quaint town uh, in the Amish country where she meets a young man who's a confectioner. And so it's an opposites attracts. Can she
Okay.
leave that lifestyle behind and this, go offline and that sort of thing? So I kind of take on the
Oh, that
whole.
sounds interesting.
Thank you. I think one of the things that I learned early on was people like to not just see a lot of action, but they also want to live through lifestyles and careers that they're not familiar with. And so that's why I wanted to have a natural resource officer, not just a police officer, someone who's tapped into the natural, not only natural history, but our African American history as well. And then with our social media influencer and our confectioner, who's a fourth generation candy maker, as a Black family, historically. So I wanted to like bring in these careers and professions as well as the little love story that matches into it. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
I like that. Because what I'm hearing is, it's not just a good story with a lot of layers to it, but we also get a little bit of a history lesson with your stories.
I like to do that. And I think that, may I hold up another book?
Sure. This is your
Okay.
time.
I have them in my lap. A young Black man said to me one time, he said, never leave your house without a book, one of your books. And I said, okay. And then he said, always be ready to show your book. I said, okay. So, so whenever I'm going to be on a Zoom, I have them nearby. So this one is Love Lies in Local News. She's an investigative reporter. And what we deal with in that story is um, a small town that's impacted by environmental damage, but they need the jobs as well. And so they want the company there, but they don't want, they obviously see a lot of environmental issues in their health and so forth. And that impacts a lot of Black communities that,
Right.
as we know, right? And so I bring the issues in to the story, even though that's not the story. I put them in environments that are reality for our people in particular. Like losing our Black history is an issue for our people, making sure we safeguard that. So
Right.
I make that the backdrop of the mystery or the romance. Yeah.
Now, you are another busy lady because you have 3 more books that you're planning on releasing this year.
Yes. Yes. Someone
I don't know
asked
how you
me,
do it.
I know it's why do you write so much? Because I can. Because it's because I get to do it now. So there, my career is in information technology. You're talking about Maryland. I spent half of my life over Virginia, Maryland, working in the Pentagon, working on Capitol Hill. Like
Okay.
that was where my life was. Um, and but my early childhood was toward reading and writing. You know, I was going to go to Sarah Lawrence. I was going to be an author, all that sort of thing. But you know, you got to pay your bills. So that was not the path I took. So when fast forward now I can, you know, so now
Yes.
these have been like a fire hose is coming out. Now let's get these stories done. And my best friend, who's an amazing author, I sent her a text yesterday, said, can I run a storyline by you? So there, you know, there's always these ideas. And then she was like, you know, I got stuck on something. Can I text you about it? I was like, yeah, absolutely. You know, so there's always
Well, that's
ideas.
that's great that you have
Yeah.
somebody that you can bounce those ideas off of.
Yes. And it helps when it's someone that can be brutally honest
Yes.
and you still love each other
I
when it's
got
all
that.
said and done.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I
you
would tell you, I am on my second career. I did 23 years in the Army, and for the last 6 to 8 years, I've been working for the federal government. And when I retired this time, I'm doing exactly what you're doing. I'm just going to be writing full time. And
yeah,
this is what I thought I wanted to do when I retired from the Army. I went back to work because, as you said, I got to pay the bills. So
yes,
I'm setting myself up to when I retire again, I'm not doing a third career. I'm just going to write and I'm going to relax. In fact, one of my colleagues just retired recently, like within the last couple of weeks, and he sent us a picture of him sitting in his pool in his backyard drinking a beer. That's what I don't drink beer, but sitting in the pool in the backyard, chilling in the middle of the day is what I want to do.
May I say this? May I say this? I am
Yes.
busier now. I am busier now. And I think because the motivation is coming from my core
Yeah.
versus the motivation being you got to pay the bills, you know? And so
No,
I
no,
was,
I'm with you on that. I'm totally
yeah,
with you on that.
yeah. So it's like the whole idea that retirement was going to be the rest and relaxation. It just somehow didn't turn out that way.
Oh,
So,
I'm
yeah,
probably the same as you as in that I'm not going to fully rest.
yeah.
However, I do know that I'm going to be fitting some time in for me to
Get your
sit
writing in.
on my deck
Yeah,
and write and let the sun hit my face. That's
yeah,
really what I just want. Even if I'm busy, I want to be busy doing the things that I love doing. And I
yeah.
love writing. And right now I feel like I fit my writing in to when I have time instead of doing it
Right.
when it hits me. So that's why I said I'm looking forward to my retirement.
Yes. And I think one of the things that's great about being able to pick this up now, um, is I can look back on all the places that I've worked, all the people that I met, all the places where I moved to, and all those experiences. Because people ask me, you know, where you get these ideas, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, they're a Frankenstein of all of these different places, all these different people. There's a little bit of this person mixed in with my, you know, where I used to live here, and I mix them together and I make it a place or a person that had this piece in their personality and another person. And you can Frankenstein people and characters together based on all those years of experience. And so
Mhm.
it gives you that seed bed to pull from. So it's not, even though it felt like everything got put on hold, and it sort of did, but while it was on hold, it was still germinating. So it all comes through in a lot of the writing is all those experiences. But yeah, that's why I have another book coming out in August the 26th that I push
Mhm.
that's coming out on August the 26th. So I've got a month to get this baby polished and perfect. Uh, and then in October, I have it coming out on October the 18th, my grandfather's birthday. It's a big, certain dates, I'll pick a date that's significant that makes me really want to push to get it done and get it perfected on that date, you know, to make sure it's released. So So yeah, so October the 18th, and then I'll have a holiday. I'll hold one more book. I'll hold one more book. This one is Blazing Heart, Silent Night. Last Christmas, everyone was showing off their Christmas books, their holiday books around, October, November. And I said, I don't have anything that's about Christmas. I have nothing I have no holiday books. Oh my God, like, what am I doing? So this is an army medic who comes back and inherits her father's Christmas tree farm, and there's an arsonist in the community. And right, burning down everything that has to do with
Yeah,
Christmas. So anything related to Christmas, he's burning it down. And
I hate that.
and here comes dun, 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 to save the day. So she comes back home, and uh her ex from high school is now the sheriff. And so he's there to let her know what's going on. And between the two of them, they have to sort out her PTSD issues and some other things, as well as find who this arsonist is. So it's another romantic suspense. But yeah, so I had to have a holiday. I had to have a holiday
Yes,
book.
yes.
So
I'm
yeah,
planning on a holiday romance this year myself, so I'm looking forward to jumping into that sorority of holiday books. I'm gonna be
right.
right there with you.
Yeah, I had to,
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was joking with someone at a book fair, and I said, so I needed a holiday book. So I have one where they're burning down everything that has to do with Christmas. And she said, that sounds very festive. I said, well, it's a romantic suspense. I couldn't just have them, drinking eggnog. I had to,
Right,
had to
right.
had to have a crime.
Love that, love that. So now that's a lot of books that are coming out within months of each other. Um, I know you said you find yourself busier in your retirement life, but how is your writing process? Are you writing two books at once, three books at once, or are you going one after the other, or are you just putting in long days of writing? How are you doing this?
I'll say that it's a combination of everything you just said. Last
Oh,
year, I took the seat as board president of the Great Lakes Fiction Writers. And so I had a lot of things in the queue of ideas and manuscripts and various, ideas floating around in bits and pieces. And I didn't really finish that much, or at least I didn't feel like I finished that much. I had a novella series; those are very short. I got those done. Got book 5 done. Okay, we're done with that series because I have to get out of Clover City. I'm tired of Clover City. You go on this series, so I'm done with this series, and I wanted to move on to these other books that I've been holding up, and I
mhm.
didn't have a chance to finish any of them. So saying that, when I stepped into 2025, into 24, in the beginning of 25, a lot of these were, all I have to do is finish Act 3. I'm just pretty close to getting them done. So they were in the queue, so to speak. The ones that I'm finishing up now they were in idea space. Like I said, I just chatted with my friend saying, let me run this idea by you. I'm not going to touch that until next year, but that's how I am with generating ideas. But
Right.
um, so the first 3 that showed up this year have been in the works last year. And so I'm trying to get at least 3 done a year. What I do is I hang very close to people who are very prolific. And
Oh.
a friend of mine said, you know what? Just write faster. And so we have this running joke with each other. Whenever I feel myself dragging, I said, nope, just write faster. That's the answer. Just stop
Mm.
whining and get it done. So when the saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, so when you're around people who have that type of momentum going, that energy, then it automatically lifts you to that place too. And so
Yes.
when I set that goal for myself, it helps when you have people around you that have that same level of commitment. And so I want to get minimum, I want to get 4 done a year. But yeah, there's that part of me that says, this is now when you're doing this. Like, this is when this is happening. Next year, you may not be able to do anything. You don't know what next year is going to be, so you
Yes.
know what I mean? Like, this is on your plate now, get it done, get it finished, because next year, who knows where we're going to be and what's going to be happening. And you don't want to, when the pandemic first showed up, one of the things that I said to someone is, I'm not going to die broken and I'm not going to die empty. Whatever I said to myself I wanted to get done, I'm going to keep that promise to myself from my childhood. So I looked at me as a little girl and said, I'm going to keep my promise to you. So that's the get 4 of them done a year. And so that's how that happens for me. Yeah.
So you have, it's your mindset really that's changed. You don't approach a project like, oh, I have time to finish it.
No, I have no time to finish it. So let's get it done now. Yeah.
I love that.
It's not a promise. I think if anything, the pandemic should have taught us that there's no promise. There's no promise. So if it's something that you want, get it done now. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Show us your book one more time. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
plenty.
I don't know. There's so many of them.
There's so many of them.
The
I
current
have
book.
to I have to do a shout out to Carlos if Carlos ever watches this, because don't ever leave your house without your books. So anyway, so this one is the one with the arsonists
Yes.
burning down everything that has to do with Christmas. Um, and again, whenever there's a book fair, whenever I'm talking to people, I always give them the triggers. This one has deals with PTSD.
Okay.
So that's an issue. This one is My Sweet Escape. This is the social media influencer who has to hide out because she made a viral mistake.
Wait,
The trigger.
I have to ask you though, because see, when you described that story at first, I thought she fell in love with a white man because of the town you said she was hiding out in. Where did she find this black sweets maker?
She okay. She flies from LA and lands in Ohio
Okay.
in this little quaint town in the Amish community where there are a handful of Black folks, and his family happens to be one of them.
Okay,
And
I
so
love that.
their history, yeah. And so all he knows is this little town, and he's the 4th generation of this Black family. That's there's history behind them. But her cyberbullying is in this, and also mental health is that. This one is Lost History Between Us. This is the history teacher who inherits a cabin that's been broken into that was on the Underground Railroad, and they're stealing our Black history. Chronic illness is mentioned in this one. And this one is Love, Lies, and Local News. This is a love triangle. It's kind of spicy. So I was like, people know it's kind of spicy. And in that, we deal with suicide. Is mentioned. You don't see it happen, but there's suicide mentioned in that. So
So,
I like to let
so
people know.
do all of your books have a different trigger that you deal with?
It doesn't start out that way. I think that as I'm developing the characters and I want to give them, here's my perspective on how because I'm a plotter, but there's room for things to change. And if I'm sitting with a story and according to my little outline, it's done, but I don't see them become whole in some respect, where I don't see them overcome something. I don't see their growth. I don't see a moment that sparks them alive in some way. then it's not finished, even if all the action is completed, and so I needed to give, in this case, this young woman, I needed to give her, like, her mother is bipolar. And so that's why there's a lot of her dealing with her being accepted, feeling rejected, not being good enough. So it's like, where did all of that come from? So I had to put something in her backstory to explain why she deals with all of these insecurities. And in that case, it was because of her mother's mental illness. And so that's where these things come from. And so that's where the trigger warnings come in, because I read someone's book, very famous person, and I read their book, and the young woman's boyfriend proposes to her, and she, like, doesn't want to get married. And I read the entire story, and I'm like, nowhere in here did you show me why.
Right, right.
Like,
I
why is
said that
she?
I said that to an author one time. I was editing a book, and the story was fun, but in the story, I didn't know that the girlfriend was unlikable until the narration told me that I wasn't supposed to like her. But I didn't see
Mm,
any action that she had. I didn't see anything that she said that would make her as unlikable as the narration was telling me that she should be. And I was like, and I told the author, I said, she didn't do anything. Why do we not like
right,
her?
right. And it's that you're not liking her should have come out of you automatically based on her behavior, right? Or
Right,
something in her
right. She was
backstory.
just trying to convince us. She's trying to
She's a
convince us
bad
why her
person.
boyfriend wants to break up with her, why he's not happy with her. But I didn't see anything that she did that would make him feel that way. So,
Right.
and so what you're saying is such a good point that I our narration can't tell people how
No.
to feel. We can't make people feel a certain way about characters. We have
Right.
we have to be able to um reveal that within the characters' actions, within their words, within the subtext. That's what helps us to come up with how we should feel about a person. And then
Right.
often, and I think we were saying this earlier in the show, often what we expect people to feel for a character, sometimes that's not what the people feel about them.
Right. Yeah, and it's in my story that has Love Lies in Local News, it has a love triangle. One person who reviewed the book said, let's just say the first half, all I did was yell at her and say, make up your mind, but but that's what a love triangle is. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's
right.
like, to help you, who is she gonna pick? So how she interpreted, and my best buddy hated that part of the story. Like, she's so confused. I said, well, she's conflicted. Yeah, but she's confused. I said, yeah, well, she's like, that's the whole triangle bit. So it doesn't land with everyone. And that's why I like to let them know, if I'm, like I said, in a book fair, whenever I'm talking to someone, I said, this is what's going on in this story. And I think when you were talking with your previous guest about, like, what are the advantages of going to conventions and book fairs and things like that, it's like you get to have this conversation and tell them, you want to set the expectation, because you want your story out, all of your work. You want to put it in the right hands. You don't want to just, like, buy my book. You want the person,
Right, right.
you want it to be a match. Like, it's almost like you're matchmaking, your book to the person. Like, do you, how,
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like, it's a little spicy. This has no spice. This one has PTSD mention. Are you okay with that? So you're trying to make a book, date, so to speak. So
Right. I
yeah,
love that.
but
A book date.
you want to make sure you have a good match. And I think that, like you were saying, it has to come out of the reader's own emotions, because
Yes.
they're now invested in the story, because they're feeling that, man, I don't like her, versus, like you said, the narrators saying she's not a likable person, no one likes her. Like, yeah, but I don't see why. So yeah, the
Right.
triggers and all that come out of that whole, she's walking through these experiences and she's behaving this way, but I have to give people a reason to understand why she's that way. Um, and that way,
Absolutely.
it's not a flat, character situation.
Absolutely. Well, Barbara, this has been so fun talking with you. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I really appreciate all the jewels that you dropped this entire half hour. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people learned a lot just by listening to you speak. So, thank you very
Thank you.
much for sharing with us tonight.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, you have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Miss Barbara Howard. So now we are going to move on to our final guest, and she is a member of the She Publishing family, and She Publishing is a huge friend to the show. Um, She Publishing with Shanitha Burton. She has sponsored the show. She sponsored the National Black Book Festival, and she has published oodles of authors, and one of them was just on the screen and then she disappeared. So I hope she's coming back. Trinity? There she is. How are you
Hello.
tonight? Oh,
I'm absolutely amazing.
no, what you doing, baby?
I'm trying to get my camera set up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't do it back like you had it. There you go. Don't worry about it. I know you were trying to fill the screen, but it's okay like that.
Thank
How
you
are
so
you
much for
tonight?
having me. I'm
Thank you for
amazing.
being here. And congratulations on being a part of the She family.
Thank you so much. It's my honor.
Well, I was talking with Shanitha yesterday, and I told her, I said, she talks about her sister companies. I said, well, you can just consider me a cousin company. Yeah, we go back. I feel like we've gone back for longer than 10 years, and we've only known each other just a few years. But I can say that you have a publisher who really cares about every author who's under her label. So I think you're in great hands.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about you, first of all, before we jump into your book. Tell us about you.
All right. So as you already know, my name is Trinity Rucker. I am 14 years old, and I was the City of Rockford Youth Poet of 2024, which meant that I went all around Rockford sharing my gift of poetry. And I am the vice president of the NAACP Rockford Youth Council.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
ma'am.
Okay.
And I actually just got back from the National AXO Awards in North Carolina. So that was an amazing experience. I am also part of the Sounds of Good News Yes Club with Dr. Carl and Diana Cole. And what we do is we also go all around our community, Illinois, a state as a whole, just sharing whatever the children's gifts are, singing, dancing, poetry. And for that organization, I am also the leader of Fine Arts. I am going into
Wow.
my ninth grade year at Auburn High School, where I will be participating in the CAPA program, which is the Creative and Performing Arts Academy. I will be doing theater, choir, dance, and studio arts.
You have accomplished more in your short 14 years of life than some of us old folks have accomplished in 50 years. How do you find all the time? That is amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all you've accomplished. Now, there are a lot of 14-year-olds who are at home. They're wondering, hey, this is my first year of high school. I just want to be cool. I want to get the latest fashions. I want to do this. I want to do that. You have you have dedicated yourself to the arts with acting, with writing, poetry, and so many other things. Why did you choose this path for yourself?
Well, actually, ever since I was a little girl, it's just been my passion. I've been drawn to it. I tell people all the time that when I hear music specifically, because I actually aspire to be a singer, when I hear music, it just fills my soul and I'm just completely in awe. And I've always known that it's something that I want to do, especially being in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
That when it comes to my poetry at every single event that I have been at, someone always tells me that what I said in my poem was exactly what they've been needing to hear. And so I've really just prayed and allowed God to have his will be fulfilled in my life, to have him speak through me, especially with my words and with my poetry. And so being in the entertainment industry for me is just being able to touch people and give them what they need.
That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I'll tell you, I love the fact that your parents are pouring into this and that they're supporting this. My daughter at the age of 12 decided that she wanted to be an actress, and that was her main focus. She wanted to hurry up and get out of high school so she can go to college and become an actress. And she acted in a number of commercials, stage plays. She wound up majoring in theater arts when she was at Clark Atlanta University, and she graduated cum laude. And then she got out of college and she decided she didn't want to act anymore. But it was for me, I don't feel that her time was wasted, because that was what kept her focused. It's what kept her motivated. And
Mhm.
she was able to use those skills in so many other ways. And she's doing great for herself. So but I think that, and I've said this on this show and on another on my own show before, that sometimes our parents hear us say that we want to be entertainers or we want to pursue the arts, and they try to talk us out of it. And they tell us, you need to focus on something that's going to make you money. You need to focus on a real career. And what happens is the child gets discouraged.
Mhm.
And then they wind up not focusing on anything because they didn't get to pursue their love. So I'm really happy for you in that your parents are pouring into your talents and they're supporting you wanting to be an entertainer, be a poet, and it's paying off for you. Um, when do you think that your parents first realized this was something that you wanted to do?
From my mom is standing right here, and she was telling me that she could. Well, when I was a little girl, I grew up in church. My dad is actually a pastor, and my mom was in the praise team or in the choir. So every Sunday, I would watch her on stage and I would be singing right along with her. And she was able to see my passion from a little girl for singing. And also on every single holiday, especially my mom and my dad's birthday, I would always write them little cards, little notes instead of getting something that was store bought. I wanted them to hear my heart. And I've sat down and I've had
Yes.
many conversations with my mom, and she said that she was able to see my gift of writing in doing little things like that, because I didn't even realize at the time just how much I was helping and how much I was benefiting her. And not only that, ever since I was a little girl growing up in church, I've been prophesied over many times. For
Mm.
example, before I even heard about she publishing, before I even thought about becoming a writer, a poet, I was in church in December of 2020, 2022, I believe. And I had a singing engagement. Right after that, immediately after I was done singing, the pastor called me back up to the stage and she laid hands on me and she was saying that I was going to write a book that the whole nation was
Oh,
waiting
come
for.
on. Yes.
The entire nation was waiting for. And for me, I was 12 years old. I had just turned 12 years old. Writing was never something that I pictured myself doing as a career or even wanting to publish a book. So even then, God's plan for me was just so, it was more that I could dream, think of, or imagine. But for my parents, it was a big confirmation for them because they already saw it themselves.
Well, your publisher is all in the comments, just cheering you on. Okay, and she entered the waiting room, and I'm not sure why. Shanitha, if you're trying to join the conversation, can you let me know in the Facebook chat? Because I'm not gonna let you in if you didn't expect to do that. So let me know what you're trying to do here. But but I will tell you, Trinity, that your faith is all over this interview, and I can tell that you are very real about what you're saying, and I can see you being a great example to other people your age. Do you find yourself kind of where people are kind of drawn to you?
Yes, ma'am. And I have I went through a lot of things at an early age, and I'm a firm believer that God allows you to go through certain things so you can help those dealing with the same stuff. And
Amen.
so, as you said, yes, kids my age and even older are drawn to me. And it just blows my mind how it's about how I benefit them and how I help them with the specific issues that I've dealt with myself. And so I will be forever, forever grateful to God for allowing me to go through those trials and tribulations so I'm able to help others. And that's really what I wanted to do with my book. And that's what inspired all of my poetry is my own personal experiences. For example, self-esteem was something that I struggled with for a long time. And so
Yes.
in my book, I made sure to include poems that specifically would lift up kids and people who are my age, knowing that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, that God has a plan for all of us. And so, yes, I do often find people drawn to me.
Well, do you have a copy of the book with you?
Yes, I do.
I want to see.
Right here. My Sunrise.
Oh, beautiful.
It's 20 of my original poems.
Okay, wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And I also hear that you are an accomplished singer.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at your publisher. Hi.
You gotta be kidding me. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know I was in on the fun for real, y'all.
I was just asking Trinity about her singing because you and Mark said that she is an amazing singer.
Yeah, I wanted her to maybe do a tune or something because she's great.
I would
Uh-oh,
love
she
to.
looked like she's ready. I saw that look on her face. Come on, let us hear you sing, baby.
So my favorite music artist is Etta James, and I love singing jazz
Ooh.
music.
If you
And
don't
my
stop reminding
specialty,
me of my daughter.
my specialty is a song called At Last.
I knew it. I knew it. That's her song too. Okay, keep going.
At last, my love has come
Oh.
along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh, yeah, at last. So that's a little bit of
Come on,
what
Trinity. Yes.
Thank you. That's a little bit of what I have. And of course, as I said, watching my mom in the praise team and in the choir at church, that's when I first discovered my passion for singing. But when I was actually able to step into it and do what I love is when I joined the Yes Club with Dr. Carl Cole. And he takes whatever talents you have, mine being poetry and singing, and pushes you to your max. And he makes sure that you excel because he sees the God-given gift in every single individual, and he does his best and he tries his hardest to allow it to flow out. And so being with the S Club, I've been able to perform in Springfield, Illinois for the state fair. This will be my second year in a row. We also have quarterly concerts at the Nordloff Center, where I am the lead singer. And being in the S Club has also given me great exposure, and that's what caused people to call on me throughout the community. For example, this Thursday, I have an event. It's called A Good Kind of Trouble. I will be singing the national anthem. And so I'm just so grateful for all of the opportunities that I've been given. It's amazing.
Well, and don't y'all get it twisted. The national anthem is not an easy song to sing. I don't even know why that's our national anthem, because all of those high notes and those long notes, that is not, you have to get somebody who really knows how to sing that song. So that is amazing. Now tell me a little bit more about this club. I'm sorry, did you say the S Club or the Yes Club?
The Yes Club. It stands for Young Eagle Success Club. And so, as I said, Dr. Carl Cole, who is the founder of the club, he sees the gift in every individual and does his best to draw it out. So he is ensuring that young Eagles or kids my age, it goes all the way up to seniors in high school. He makes sure that young Eagles succeed in what they love to do.
And eagles fly high. You very seldom see an eagle swooping low. The eagle always stays high. So I love that.
Yes, and something he always says is that everyone in the group knows how to fly, but he loves to teach them how to soar in their full potential. Yes.
I love him. I've never met him, but I love him. Now, Shanita, how did you find this young lady?
Yeah, she actually won a writer's challenge. So we do a writer's challenge every year, and she was our first, I can't call her elementary entrepreneur because she's not in elementary school anymore, but she is a young entrepreneur. And so she entered the writing contest and she won. And what's the poem that you won on? What was the name of that?
Unity in the Community.
Yes, Unity in the Community. And when we read that poem, that was it. She was the winner. And then we met for the first time at the Be the Miracle Gala. And yeah, that's how we met. And I think Royce Dixon Sr., he's another one of our authors.
Yes.
That family, I believe maybe his wife or Royce told them about the contest. She entered, and here we are. She is such an eloquent, just young lady. And her mother and her parents just pour into her, and you can tell. And she will be speaking at our gala on September 20th. She don't know it yet, but
I think she knows now.
I know, right? She knows now.
Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to it. Me and my mom have been talking about it every single day.
Oh, that's wonderful. You are just a big old ball of fire, Trinity. And she came on the show slaying. You see her?
Come on now.
The makeup and the earrings and
the hair. Look, that's how the She family roll. You know what I'm saying? No,
I can see, because Shanita, you talk about you on here on accident, and you dressed up looking like Miss America.
Look, we just had a show. Me, Mark, we was on there, one of our new authors, but then we knew we wanted to come and hop on Black Authors Matter TV so we can support Trinity.
Wonderful, wonderful. I told you, Trinity, you have a really good tribe behind you. The yes. She family. I'm the She cousin, but
yes.
The She family really supports each other, and so I'm really happy to see folks see them just jump on to support you and to cheer you on. And then I'm also happy just to see how you are using your talents for great things, and that you're using them to effect change in the people around you, because it is so easy to get sucked into negativity or to try to hide your light because you're afraid to shine. And then there are some people who are going to make you try to dim your light because it makes them feel more comfortable. So the fact that you are standing up heads and shoulders and you're being a leader amongst your peers, that says a lot about you. And I just encourage you to continue doing that.
Thank you so much. I definitely will, because I'm a firm believer that even if we don't want God's will to prevail, it will. So
Absolutely.
the best thing you can do is to be obedient and allow him to use you, because he always has a greater plan. It says in the Bible that I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. So I believe I'm losing nothing from allowing God's will to be done in my life.
Come on. Now
Wow.
I'm guessing this is your mom, Darlene Titsworth.
Yes,
Yes.
she's on.
Okay. Well, she said that we should see your Character Matter show on the YouTube, the Yes Club
Yes,
YouTube page. So tell
yes.
us about that.
So the Yes Club YouTube page is called Sounds of Good News. And so for every major holiday, we release a music video with original compositions by Dr. Carl Cole, and I am the lead singer. But the Character Matters show is a show that highlights community leaders with extraordinary character. And it specifically targets the youth to encourage them to be their best selves. So far, I have interviewed the city of Rockford's mayor, Tom McNamara, the Illinois state representative, Maurice West, and our county chairman, Joe Shirelli, our Rockford Park District leaders. So a lot of established and esteemed people, just with the purpose of allowing our community to hear their point of view on why character matters so
Yeah.
much.
That
Yeah.
is amazing. And Shanita, did you know she did all that?
She has a whole list. I have a whole gambit of things that this young lady does. Seriously.
Wow. I'm kind of glad that we saved you for last. I mean, you're making the rest of us feel like we haven't done enough in life.
I know, right? On my bucket list, like, okay, what am I gonna do next? Shoot, Trinity is just
Yeah,
inspiring us.
Thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you want to do next? I mean, you've already done so much and you've accomplished so much. What do you want to do next?
That is actually a very, very, very good question. I know that for sure I want to continue being in the entertainment industry, using my poetry, using my singing, but I am so excited for high school and to be in the CAPA program, to be able to build on top of my gifts and to meet other people who are doing the same things. Like I said, I just came back on Sunday from North Carolina for the NAACP National Act So Awards, which is for young people all over the nation competing in different things like mathematics. I love math, it's my favorite subject. They compete in mathematics,
I hate math, but
biology,
okay.
mathematics, biology, singing, dance, music composition. And so I do plan on representing Rockford for the 49th AXO Awards in Chicago, Illinois. And I will be competing in singing and poetry and performance poetry. So that is my big goal, my major thing, the thing that I am looking forward to.
Wow. That is amazing. I don't know if you're into pageantry, but you would be an amazing Miss something.
Thank you.
Sure
I
would.
actually was a model when I was younger. I think from when I was from 6 to 9 years old. Yes, I was definitely a
See?
pageant queen. Thank you so much.
Now, where do you want to go to college?
I actually am not sure about that yet. There's still so much that I'm figuring out, but there are so many people who support me, especially in scholarship programs. Rock Valley College has been the college that is that has just been there for me and providing me with opportunity after opportunity. For example, I just got accepted into the Upward Bound program for Rock Valley, which is for high school students, just making sure that they excel in their grades, excel academically, and just become the best person that they're able to be, stepping into their full potential. So I'd say Rock Valley is definitely on the radar. However, I have also been looking into some HBCUs, and I do plan in the summer of my sophomore and my freshman year, I will be traveling to different HBCUs to go on the tours to learn more about them and hopefully decide which one I would like to attend.
Yeah, that's how my daughter got interested in Clark Atlanta University, because her high school did an HBCU tour. I think it was during spring break. They visited quite a few, probably about 5 or 6 different HBCUs for the entire week. And she got to Clark Atlanta, and she really fell in love with the place. And that's where, well, she applied to about 6 different schools. I think she was accepted to probably those 6 schools. But she did not want to settle on anybody until she heard from Clark Atlanta. So when she heard from Clark Atlanta, she said, that's where I'm going. So I would say the world right now is your oyster. I do have to ask you a question that Tony would need to place in the chat, because I need to know it as well. She wants to know when you sleep.
My sleep schedule has definitely been thrown off throughout the summer. I'm trying to fix it. Recently, I've been going to bed at like 2 and 3 a.m., but it's getting better.
Are you about as bad as me? I'm gonna start calling you and telling you to go to bed, because I'm usually up about that time.
It's just I'm so wired thinking about all that I've been blessed to be able to do. It's an honor to be, for me, it's an honor and it's a blessing to be able to stay up late at night doing what your passion is, because many people wish that they had that opportunity. So I will never, ever, ever take it for granted. I always appreciate it.
That is wonderful. Shanita, you got a big one right here.
I know it is an honor, you know.
My mom is encouraging me to mention how I was okay. So I've always excelled academically. But my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teacher, Bianca Serna, she submitted my name because of my grades into the STEM program. And I was accepted and got the opportunity to go to any college of my choice for a week back in 6th grade. However, I was not able to follow through with it due to COVID and my mom having back surgery. But I am, as I said, I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason. And so I believe God is going to bring it all the way back around even better. So I'm very excited.
Amen. Well, Shanita, I did not see Trinity's link to her book. Do you know how we can find her book?
Yeah, her book is on several different platforms, you know, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then you probably should see it on our website. And if you don't, on She Publishing LLC, it's at the bottom with the poetry books, and we're gonna just check out and just make sure that link is actually working.
Okay. Yeah, well, it might be because Trinity didn't send it to us. But that's okay. I'm looking for your book right now. And because I want to put it in the chat before we hang up.
Yeah, but yeah, the several, like, it's definitely on Barnes and Noble, it's definitely on Amazon, and it will be in our poetry category. But just in case the link isn't working, I'll have someone from our team, just in case anybody wants to enjoy the She experience.
Yes, yes. So somebody please place Trinity's link in the chat, because I'm quite sure that there are a lot of people who are watching this show right now who would love to support this amazing young lady. And unfortunately, it is now 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern time. I know it's a little earlier where you all are. But once again, Trinity, congratulations on all that you've accomplished. God bless you. Oh, wait, somebody
I
just
just
said,
I just put
yes.
it in the chat for Amazon.
Okay, I am putting this in the Facebook chat so everybody can get it. There it is. It is now in the chat. Please make sure you support this amazing young lady. I want you to continue doing everything that you're doing because I truly believe everything that you touch is blessed, and you are going to be an inspiration to another young lady who's coming up. And like I said, you remind me so much of my daughter because she was doing a lot of what you're doing, and she just published her own poetry book. So just keep doing what you're doing because there is somebody watching you, whether you know it or not. They are watching you, and somebody's saying, I want to be just like Trinity. So may God continue to bless you and keep doing what you're doing. And Shanitha, keep just cranking out these amazing authors. Congratulations on all the success of She Publishing.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you so much. It was an
Thank
honor
you.
being here.
Oh, thank you so much. God bless you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. We just finished talking with Trinity Rucker. She is the 14-year-old phenom who is one of the newest authors under She Publishing. And I just want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. This has been a good show. It's been a really good show. And I just want to thank all of you for supporting the show. We're sending best wishes to Gwen as she's doing choir rehearsal because I know the show is going to be phenomenal. I wish I could be there for it, but I already know that they're going to knock it out of the park because they always do. So that brings us to the end of another great episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I am so happy to have been able to host the show and to talk with such phenomenal authors. Thank you all for being a phenomenal, phenomenal audience. And we will see you next week for a new edition of Black Authors Matter TV. So I'm your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am signing off. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.